radio.nyc.
Philanthropy in focus, baby. Your boy, the one and only, the nonprofit sector connector. And what the heck is a nonprofit sector connector? You might ask yourself. Well, I'll tell you, here's what happened in my day yesterday. I get invited to ECLI Vibes. They had a press conference, and it was all about the tragedy and challenges of human trafficking here on Long Island. And human trafficking is not what you might traditionally think about. You know, this is young people who are groomed and put into terrible situations right here on our island, and ECLI Vibes is doing the work there. And I got to be with that group for about an hour and a half learning about that. You had Sheriff Tulin. You had Lieutenant Detective Messina from the Suffolk County Police Department. They were on the panel. You had Laura Mullen, who's a survivor of trafficking and who's an advocate and works over at ECLI Vibes. You had from Social Services, you had Annie O from Long Island Social Services, Suffolk County Social Services, and then you had Fetty, who's one of the founders of ECLI many years ago, who is a co-founder with my friend Jennifer Hernandez, who was on this show just a couple weeks ago here on Philanthropy in Focus. So that's what you get to do when you're the nonprofit sector connector, followed up by jumping in my car, my hot rod, my red Nissan Sentra, and cruising over to Pronto, Long Island, where Allied Foundation was celebrating the 4 millionth diaper that Allied Foundation has donated to families in need. So that's what I get to do. And then I get to shoot into Manhattan last night for an opportunity with the Sattel Institute, where I'm going to be doing some cool consulting work around corporate social responsibility and that spot where businesses and nonprofits collaborate. So that's my life, and I'm grateful for it. I get to hang out with nonprofit people each and every day. Guess what? Guess what we're going to do? We're going to do another episode where I came all the way up here to the attic, and now I have two friends from St. Vincent de Paul of Long Island. So shout out everybody. You know, Trish, I don't remember how we first met, Trish Rango, but I know I met you, and we ran into each other at a couple events. You introduced me to Tom Abate, who's here with us. We're going to have a dialogue. We're going to learn about this organization. Trish, do you remember? First of all, good morning to you both. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Trish.
Morning. Thanks for having us.
How you're welcome. How did we meet, Trish? I don't remember. Do you?
Probably at an Association of Fundraising Professionals event, because you were always involved and a great supporter of the organization.
Could be that. Yeah.
So we probably, I saw your energy and was drawn immediately to find out who this connector guy is. And,
Stop. I mean, go on.
Yeah.
That's funny. But, and I actually emceed the AFPLI event, Association of Fundraising Professionals, Long Island, last November. And it's always on a Friday. And I see that my friend and colleague Prashant Gupta is going to be the MC this year. So I will not be doing a show, gang. I'm letting you know right now. I believe it's November 7th, and it's going to be not me. Maybe I'll send my AI, Tommy D, to do the show because I will be at the AFPLI event. So let's get into this. I really want to learn about the organization, but as I said to you both, and as we always do, it's about the journey of the people I'm talking to. So I have a bunch of notes. I'm not going to really refer to them much, but they're there more for me to just know if I want to pull a question or two from that. So I really want to go into this. What I thought we'd do is, Tom, I thought you could really start us off with, like, from a high level, the society, the St. Vincent de Paul Society, specifically as it relates to Long Island, just to kind of set some context there. And then I want to hear your story, and we'll bounce to Trish's story, and we'll go from there. So what is the St. Vincent de Paul Society? Tell me about that.
Well, we are is a group that operates within the Diocese of Rockville Center. That's how the organization is broken up by Catholic diocese. We have the privilege of having almost 1,200 volunteers that go out in the communities every day. What kind of makes us different is we go to visit people in their homes. We go in twos, we sit down with them. And the reason why we do that is to start a conversation. It's not a one visit and we're done. You know, we want to take the journey with you.
Yeah.
That you're in a better situation. And it also affords us the ability to see what else you might be needing. Somebody might be asking for a heating bill or oil bill.
Right.
And you go there and you see the kids in the winter, they have no coats on. They're sleeping on the floor. All right. So it's more than what you think.
Yeah.
So we can do a more comprehensive fix to help them get through the tough time they're in.
So, but separate from the diocese, but in collaboration with the Diocese of Rockville Center?
We, yes, we're in collaboration. We don't work for the Catholic Church. We are the largest Catholic lay organization in the world.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, good, good. All right, here's where I want to go now. Tom, I want to understand what got you to the nonprofit sector, what your journey is, and I'm going to do the same with Trish because I am all about storytelling and I'm all about story listening as much as I can because a lot of I'm telling a lot of stories, but I also do listen to stories. There was a show I usually bring it up, and it was on A&E many years ago, and it was called Biography, and I loved that show. And I've told on my show here that every time I go to Hershey, Pennsylvania, I like to watch the Milton Hershey story that they play in the lodge. Like it's constantly on a loop. And like he talk about philanthropy. There was a good guy, Milton Hershey, like built schools and to take care of young people and things like that. So I love those stories. So Tom, how do you end up in the nonprofit sector? How did that happen?
I think a lot of things throughout your life, lead you to they're setting you up for the future. I grew up in Suffolk County. I raised my family in Suffolk County. And back in the day, I had a retail career. And a lot of people might recognize some of the old names. They're no longer around, Corvettes, Kurtz, Stearns, so I had a long career in retail. And somebody I knew was working at the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. And he asked me, do I want to come on and run their stores? Because we had a couple of thrift stores,
Got it.
retail operation. And I said, you know what? The other business was constant mergers and what have you. So I said, yeah, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
So and it was the best thing I ever did.
How long ago was that?
That was in 1999.
So interesting. So do you remember so I grew up in Franklin Square. So do you remember TSS?
Yeah.
You remember that like where the Home Depot is in like Elmont?
Yep.
I mean that's a throwback. Shout out to Long Island if you know you know what I'm saying, but you got to be from a certain generation. But like
Yes.
that's and did you say Gertz?
Yep.
Like down in Jamaica?
Yeah.
Oh my God, like the Coliseum Mall and everything like that?
Yeah. I worked in Queens. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Wow. All right. So, gang, here's the thing. I always talk about like, how did you get to the nonprofit sector? This is the first time in 225 episodes, but who's counting? But this is the first time that it happened that way. So you got drawn in by the work you had done, in the retail space.
Right.
And then what struck you? Certainly, running stores, you had the operational work and things like that. But then all of a sudden now you're leading the nonprofit organization. So what was the transition or the change, how that went?
You know what? The way I was looked at it when I was with the retail operation, you just have these meetings at the national level, and then you would always hear the phrase, "Well, do you want to tell the stockholders that?" And and I came here, and the stockholders were now the people we're helping. So, like I said, I slept a lot better at night knowing we're helping people. I'm not worried about the bottom line performance. Was about who we're helping.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. And I laugh about that stockholder thing. I've worked for large companies in the past, and every 90 days I got to report to Wall Street and that whole thing. And I just go, here's a spot where I get myself in trouble. I feel it already. But like, what if our whole world was just based on supporting the stakeholders, meaning human beings? I said yesterday I was with ECLI Vibes, and there's so much need as far as education and supporting people in this trafficking situation. And then there's so much need, as I shout out Prontos and Allied Foundation, my friend Heather Edwards, 4 million diapers. God, if we could just focus on that and bringing people what they need instead of like Oh my God, here he comes. Here comes the soapbox, Tommy D. But like Madison Avenue trying to sell us more stuff. Like, do we, how about getting people the basic needs? Trish, I see you smirking, I see you smiling. How does what I'm talking about land upon you, man? We're just trying to help people, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the state of the world right now, it's a little sad. I'm watching my, adult children struggle. Um, there's so much negativity in the world that, thank you for having a show like this. Thank you for highlighting the good work that people do in the community, because we need to focus more on that. And I'm really proud to be working for an organization that makes an incredible impact on the Long Island community.
Yeah, I'm looking back at my notes and things like that. You have experience in the development space for a long time. So what was it for you? Like, how did you get drawn into this important work? Like you're pointing out, unfortunately, there is a lot of chaos going on in the world right now, and it's difficult. And I was listening to something last night because I'm always listening to something. But like, if you want anybody, I'm not speaking the three of us, I'm speaking to everybody. If you want to find like negative and bad vibes and all that kind of, it's there for you. I promise you, you can go get it. And if you want, I bought this notebook the other day. If you want this, good vibes only, then you can, and it's a cool notebook. Like, it's just a regular composition notebook, good vibes only. And it's mine, gang. I don't even know. I think I got it at the Dollar Tree. Shout out to Dollar Tree. Um,
I have the
so
same one.
yeah, you have one like that? Yeah. I
Dollar
don't
Tree.
I don't want to write in it because I'm afraid I'm going to waste the pages. Like that's how I get with stuff. But good vibes, if you just want to key into the important work, and that's what this journey, I'll call it philanthropy and focus, has become, is just focusing on great work, focusing on people that are doing the work. So I started to say, Trish Rango, how did you get to the nonprofit space? What was it for you? You were not in retail working at TSS, were you?
No, I was actually in film and publishing, and I ran a dental practice before that.
Okay,
But
cool.
for me, it was it naturally evolved because when my kids were young, I volunteered at the school, be it the PTA or the Booster Club. I got involved with. I live in Huntington. I got involved with Huntington Hospital before they were part of Northwell. I was gala committee, and we did major fundraising every year. I'm really sorry about that. Um, so yeah, so after doing it, as a volunteer, I started to. I also became a part of and I'm a past president of the Junior Welfare League of Huntington, which was a grassroots organization founded in 1958 that sort of has a similar message as we do here at St. Vincent de Paul, which is a hand up, not a handout, because we want to improve the situation and provide a family with stability and sustainability.
Yeah.
So after doing all of that, I suddenly noticed that there was a career path that it was leading me to. So my first nonprofit job was with the Cold Spring Harbor Whaling Museum. I was the development manager there. I worked with the educators, developing programs that I could then promote and try and get funding for. After that, I was the executive director of Townwide Fund of Huntington, great organization. I went over and I was development at a nonprofit assisted living facility. And then I got a call that somebody was looking for a development director here at St. Vincent de Paul. And truth be told, I mean, we're not just bins. And I say that because I grew up seeing the green bins, but never really knew the story behind them or the organization or what they did. So when I got the call, I came in. Of course, I researched the organization a little more thoroughly before my interview. And, it really aligns with what my personal ideals and mission is. So I took the job. I've been here a year now, and I'm really happy to be here and happy to be on this with you, Tommy.
I love it. I love it. I'm happy that you're here. Shout out to all my development people, man. I love all the development people because you guys make it happen. You're out there on the front lines telling stories. It is all about storytelling. It is all about, I looked at some of my notes. It's all about what I want to dive into when we come back. It's all about this term working poor. It's right. That's the story. Who are we supporting? Hand up, not hand out, right? You know what also caught me too in that last piece there, Trish, as you said, we're more than just the green bins, right? So we know if you've seen the green bins, right? But I've had my friend Randy and I've had my friend Tammy, both from the Girl Scouts, Nassau and Suffolk, respectively, Randy and Tammy out in Suffolk County, Randy in Nassau County. We did one episode here called More Than Just Cookies, talk about the Girl Scouts. I think it was when I had Tammy Severino on, and it's like you know, it's branding is great, but it's also, we gotta, you know, we're not just green bin. So we're going to get into all that, the important work that you're doing, what's upcoming. Believe it or not, we got to take a quick break. I told you, it goes fast, man. It goes fast.
Having fun, Tommy. We're
We're
having
gonna have
fun.
fun. That's it. So we come back. I want to talk more. So first of all, love the journeys. Love hearing the stories about how you got to where you are, and now you're together at this organization. I want to dive in more to what the organization is doing, the programs, and as always, how can we help and how can we make an impact? So we're gonna take a quick break. Philanthropy in focus. Right back.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a purpose-driven individual looking for deeper healing, clarity, and growth? Welcome to the Expansion Room, a transformative space for purpose-driven individuals. I'm Siobhan Larice, host, licensed therapist, and coach. Join me every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
You know, it's funny. I consider doing the show in other places, but I've trained everybody now for all these 4 years that I do the show from the attic. So, I mean, even after like my family and I 20 years from now may sell the house, I might have to rent out the attic from the new owners of the house so I can come back and do the show. We are on a plan of doing 5,000 episodes of Philanthropy and Focus. I need your help, world. So if you're connected to a nonprofit organization, if you sit on the board of a nonprofit organization, if you drive past a nonprofit building and you say, hey, Tommy D should interview those people, so let me know, because it's all about my network, making connections. So I just had to look up St. Vincent de Paul, the actual person. So focused on focused on helping people who are dealing with poverty is a big part of the organization. But obviously I didn't read it during the break because I pulled it up and didn't get deep enough into who St. Vincent de Paul was. But he was abducted and put into slavery, and he was in France. And do you know some of the story, Tom? Maybe you could tell me.
Yeah. Well, he had a very interesting life. He hung out with royalty. And to what you just said, he was also a slave at one point. And and you go back to nowadays, you drive your car, you complain about the traffic going, 30 miles.
Right.
These people were all over Europe, England, they were everywhere.
Right.
So they had tough lives.
Sure they did.
But they got their story out there. And he actually didn't start the charitable side. He did a lot of charitable work. It wasn't until about 190 years ago, a bunch of college students in Paris. The main person was this person, Frederick calls him, and him and like 4 or 5 of his college buddies got together and said, how can we help? Because there was all the poverty, the revolution was going on. And they got together and they started helping people in the neighborhoods in Paris. And then they all put their heads together and formed this organization 190 years ago.
Right. And it was and then he became the namesake for the organization
Right.
based on the tenets that he lived by, and then it worked. Never doubt that a small group of concerned citizens can change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead, right? I mean, gang, if you want to make change, make change. Do the thing, you know? Honestly, not to get up on the soapbox again, but like if you want to try something out, just try the thing out. Like, let's say you wanted to do a show called Philanthropy in Focus. Well, you can't because I already do. But let's say you wanted to before I did. And then don't go around talking about it for 2 years. Just do the thing. Like, I mean, it's impactful what you guys want to do out there in the world. Take some shots, take some chances, you know, and look at that. Now this society is all around the world doing great work, right? Without some folks making that decision, things don't change.
We're 155 countries, 2 million volunteers.
That's awesome. That's all. I shared locally some of the numbers. I pulled it up while we were at break, but just the impact that the organization has made on a local basis. I'll go through those numbers, but tell me about, you know, when I grabbed something I said before we went to break about the working poor, and that was something that, you know, you all had submitted to as a focus area. Tom, what does that mean to you? And Trish, jump in obviously as it relates to this too.
I think on Long Island, the working poor is a different classification than you'll find in a lot of other places around the country. I mean, on average, it's $120,000 to stay above the poverty line. When you
140,000?
$120,000
$120,000. Okay.
to stay above the poverty line on Long Island. Federally, it's $30,000 the poverty level.
Wow.
So, you know, I mean, it's not exact science figuring out that number, but that's the average we use.
That's why that's why we're losing all our young people. Can't stay on this island, man. It's out of control, the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why I think that's also why you see for your show, it's a great thing. Long Island, last count I heard was like 1,500 nonprofits.
Yeah.
We're on a fairly small island.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
go to some big cities, they don't have 1,500 nonprofits.
Yeah, it's quite long though.
Yes, it is.
But you know, as far as that working poor, you know, that Tom brings up a good point. $120,000, you're poor on Long Island,
Yeah.
which is a unique situation for this part of the country. You know, what we try and do and what our sweet spot tends to be is those working families who are struggling, where a crisis can arise and they're derailed.
Yeah.
You know, you're out of oil, but if you pay the oil because you have a $500 gallon tank, how are you going to pay your rent?
Yeah.
So there's times where or a medical emergency, or your car breaks down. Now you can't get to work. If you can't get to work, you can't pay your rent. You know, they become caught up in this cycle of struggle. So what we can do is we come in. Now they go for government assistance and they're told they make too much money because of course all the government things are based on, you know, the national average, and we're not anything like that here. You know, so, you know, they're told they make too much money for assistance, but where do they turn? Because they're struggling. And that's where we can really come in. And as Tom said, when you make a home visit, you can assess all the needs. You know, it may be that they need their oil tank filled for the winter, but, you know, the kids don't have coats. So that's where your donations and our thrift stores and everything starts to come together. And it's a process that a lot of people don't understand, how we get from putting something in the green bin to then, you know, having it go to one of our neighbors. You know, the thrift stores fund the programs and pay for the lights that stay on in the store and the gas that runs the trucks and the employees that carry your furniture out of the house. But we're a non-for-profit.
Yeah.
You know, and when neighbors need stuff, we provide it, be it a bed or a kitchen table or anything that's going to improve the quality of their family life. And then we also sell stuff in our thrift stores, which is great fun because everybody loves thrifting now.
I'll tell you, I had on a pink linen suit yesterday, and which I've been known to wear.
I've seen that suit.
You've seen that suit? Yeah. I mean, I might need to pick up a new one soon. But a friend of mine, we were joking about my suit, and she said to me, she's like, now either that is like custom handmade suit, or you picked it up at a thrift store. And I go, wow, look at that. Look, check out the diversity there. That's a big gap. You know,
So where'd
and
you get it?
oh, I came off the rack at Macy's. I got an angle. You know, you go to Macy's at the right time of year, right? Listen, we talked at the Dollar Tree in the first segment here, man. You know, I'm a bargain shopper. Shout out to TJ Maxx, by the way. I'm a Maxxinista, right? They do not sponsor the show. They probably should. TJ Maxx, if you want to sponsor the show, text me. But you know, it's like it's about like there's opportunities out there to save some money and cut some cost. And you know, I go to Macy's, I buy those suits when they're you know, when the season's over, man. And then
When you're done with your pink suit, you can donate it to us.
I like that, like that. I mean, I'm thinking, man, maybe you got some other suits. I gotta hit one of the stores.
I'll be honest with you. I could take out my phone right now and show you a dress that I just wore to a bridal shower at a country club that I got at our thrift store. So
I need, you know, so I'm being honored later this month, September 26th. I'm being honored by Options for Community Living it's called it's called Death of a Gangster, a mafia marriage murder mystery, kind of set the scene in the 1920s, right? Elliot Ness, mafia gangsters, the whole deal, right? The G-men, right? The whole thing. So I need a suit, probably a pinstripe suit. So I need something, I don't know, I need something that was donated to you guys in like 27, you know, 1927. So if you got to take me to that part of the store where I could pick up like a proper gangster suit. So we'll deal with that later on. But if I did want to go to one of those stores, why don't you tell me where some of those stores are, these thrift shops? I will tell you where I know where there's one, where my alma mater is, class of 1996, Chaminade Flyer right here for everybody. So right over in Garden City Park next to Mineola, where the Nod is just taking over that entire neighborhood over there. But tell me about, I see Garden City Park, I see Huntington. Tell me about the stores, Trish, and Tom, obviously, but Trish, tell me about that.
So we have 2 thrift stores. Obviously, let's get back to the green bins that we're not just.
Go ahead.
Bins, right?
Yeah,
we're not just. The stories kind of starts if you're donating. So we have hundreds of bins, right, Tom? How many bins do we have?
About 300.
About 300 bins across Long Island. So when you see those big green bins, you know that the clothing that's going in there is going to be taken in by St. Vincent de Paul, will be sold in our stores, and it will be going to our neighbors. So that's where your donations go. Now, just a word of warning about those other donation bins. Some of them are for-profit bins. And if you don't know where listen, if you just want to get it out of your house and you don't care if it goes in the garbage or goes to into somebody's pocket as a profit, that's fine. But if you're concerned about, where your donations are going and you want to make sure they get into the right hands, or you want to make sure they do good in the community, you drop them in our bins.
Mm-hmm.
We then pick up, obviously, the clothing, we sort it, and we bring it to our 2 stores. Let's not forget, our stores are in Huntington and Garden City Park. We have some really great neighbors around there who donate fabulous items. We have furniture, household items. We have new items, gently used, previously loved items for sale. And though the money that's raised there, obviously helps, like I said, keep the electricity on and the trucks going, but it also funds our programs.
There are bins everywhere. In fact, like I'm on the website, folks, and the entire island is covered in little red circles showing where the bins are. So there are plenty of bins to do the drop off. And I don't know, man, I don't know about you, but I'm a bit of like a scavenger sometimes. Yeah. And like I like to go to garage sales, and I certainly like to go to thrift shops, and because it's kind of like you could find something like really cool that like and thrifting is like a whole scene, man. Like like people, they find something. I've seen like some specifically women, like online or whatever, they find like a gown that like is really in great shape, and it's from like the turn of the century or something like that. And
we just got a bunch of gowns. We worked with a lot of community partners, and Huntington just had town of Huntington had their Project Prom, and they received so many donations, they shared some with us. So we're going to be putting out a whole section of formal wear in our stores. So for quinceañera or bar mitzvah, or mother of the bride, mother of the groom, I mean, we're going to have, and some of these gowns are new with tags, and I went on and looked, and they're around $900 dresses.
Ooh, baby, yeah.
You could actually, I would highly recommend looking for your formal wear at our stores before you go hit the department stores.
I love that. I love that.
The trend right now is the young kids are thrifting. They're our biggest customer right now, especially the girls.
Why is that? What are they looking for?
They're looking for the retro look.
Yeah.
It's taken off in the past 2 years.
You use that word. Yeah, use that word retro, Tom, and like, like I use the word throwback and things like that. You know what makes me crazy is this doesn't make me crazy, but I'm 47 years old. But you know what makes me crazy? That music that was like my era that I grew up is on like CBS 101.1. Like it's an oldie. Like talking like retro, man. Like
It
that
used to
was
be doo-wop, right?
it was like, yeah, it was like the Beatles was like on CBS, and again, huge Beatles fan, love it. But that's classic music. Like, come on, the stuff from like the 90s is now classic, and you do the math, it is, I guess, it's 30 years old, this stuff, but it's just, man, Mother's Little Helper by the Stones. What a drag it is getting old, right?
Yeah, not kidding.
Kidding.
No kidding, right, Tom?
Nope.
So I want to go to this thing about you say, and we'll go to break in a sec. Actually, this is what I want to do when we come back from break is what you mentioned when these house visits. So I want to understand like programmatically what the organization provides because I'm hearing pieces and it's like we're bridging the gap, my words, but we're bridging the gap where people have a shortfall and stuff like that. But how does the organization serve the community and what does that look like from a programmatic perspective? How's that sound when we come back?
All right.
Great.
Good. I like that. We'll be right back.
Misalignment within your sales team or with a client stalls deals and creates unnecessary friction for you and the client, resulting in up to 37% lower win rate. If you're in pre-sales, sales management, or sales enablement, and you'd like to increase revenues, win rate, margins, client satisfaction, and stay competitive, this show is for you. Hi, I'm Art Fromm, host of the Making Seamless Sales Show. Please join me live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Hi, I'm Linda Marsanico. The A Train to Sedona is a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. It's also the name of my new broadcast on Wednesdays at 12 noon. When we are spiritual, we embrace possibilities and ideas, which strengthen our mind, body, spirit, health, and wisdom. On the A Train to Sedona broadcast, I plan to interview guests who embrace these expansive practices. Join us on Wednesdays at 12 noon on Talk Radio New York City.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
And joining me in my attic, at least virtually, are Tom Abate and Trish Rango from the St. Vincent de Paul, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul of Long Island. So actually, we were talking about this, and I love history. I love stories. So I'm going to say this name. Is it Frederic or Frederick Ozanam? Right. Frederick Ozanam founded the Society of St. Vincent de Paul in 1833 while a student at the Sorbonne School of Law. During that time, as Tom mentioned earlier, France was undergoing social and economic upheaval caused by the migration of farmers to the cities. Poverty and disease were rampant. So, wow, look at that. Poverty and disease were rampant. People needed support. And a group of folks were like, hey, man, you know what would be cool if we actually helped each other out? Wow, what a novel idea. Dripping with sarcasm for you all today. Come on, gang, isn't that what we're supposed to do? Supposed to look out for your fellow man, woman, or child. The person next to you needs your support. You reach out. Also, it says here, need, not creed. That determines who is helped. While there is an affiliation with the Catholic Church, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul helps anyone in need, regardless of their race, religion, age, citizenship status. If that's not more important than ever, that last piece right there. Likewise, no work of the charity is foreign to the society, and it says, consequently, we provide financial and material assistance along with emotional and spiritual comfort to help people facing all sorts of challenges. Hashtag ending the stigma together. That's a show I do, and it's a phrase I love to use. Ending the stigma around mental health issues, ending the stigma around homelessness, ending the stigma around poverty. All of these things are critically important. And it's friends like you two that come on this show and hang out with me and tell me these great stories about the work you're doing. So a big part of this, and I was looking on the website, by the way, if you are only in listen only mode, go to svdpli.org, svdpli.org. That's the website. Check it out. The home visit. What does that mean?
Well, when the people contact us here or through the website on the phone, or they go to their local parish and they say they need assistance, what have you, there may be more than us at the parish to help. There could be the Catholic Charities is there, we're there, and we don't try to do each other's jobs. We work together, so we're not duplicating services. And we will send two people to their home or their apartment. And unfortunately, nowadays, we're doing visits to people living in their cars. So we go to the home, like we said earlier, and it gives us a better picture of what they need. Some people, they don't even need anything. They just want somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
You just want to have a conversation, and we gladly do that. We'll spend time with them. We'll go back, see how they're doing. But with the need, we have a lot of programs. We can easily get your clothing. You can take your whole family to the store, pick out the clothes you want so they fit and what have you. You pick out your own. If you need furniture, bedding, mattresses, sheets, we deliver all of that right to your house. But there's so much more we do. Somebody might need a wheelchair, right? We usually have some wheelchairs. We've have in the past installed the electric lifts to go up the staircases in the houses. Whatever it needs, if we can do it, we'll do it. And and the thing with us too is we are a Catholic lay organization. Some people just want to pray, and if they want, we're there for them. We don't make you have to pray because we're Catholic.
Right.
Some people just want a little spiritual nudge. They'll help them through the tough times.
Do you find that many of the folks that some of the descriptions of what you're talking about makes me believe a lot of the folks you're serving and supporting are elderly people? Is that a big part of who you're working with?
I think more and more we're seeing younger and younger people.
Is that right? Okay.
That need the help. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've helped, here and there, a young lady, but it's a single mother. That's one of our biggest programs. A single mother, and when we say single mothers, we've also helped single fathers. They're out there, but they're the minority. And to help them get their kids through a tough spot. Many years back, there was a case out in Suffolk County, and this group our group was spending a lot of money. I'm like, what's going on out there? So I went to their meeting, and they had a mother of 8. The father just left them. They were living in a van, and yet this mom was making sure the kids are in school, were going to school every day, getting back, taking care of the younger kids that weren't in school yet. And I'm sitting there, I was going out there to tell them, what are you doing with all this money? I said, when I left the meeting, I said, we got to find them more money. we got to help this lady. I said, well,
Yeah.
But as I say, for the stories, you never know what story you're going to hear.
No, so Trish, I want to ask, thank you, Tom. I want to ask you this, Trish. So you said you're a mom of adult children, right? So when, I was making a joke last night. Somebody said something about being a mother. I said, my wife is a mother. I'll never be a mother. I'll never know that level of connection, right? I just won't. I have 4 children. I'm a dad, right? I'm a father. But when you've had some interactions either here at St. Vincent de Paul or at other, even at, when you were at Huntington Hospital or some of the other work you're involved with, what is that like when you meet with a mom who wants everything for the child and is just restricted by access, restricted by funding? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, that's a big part of who we help. We have a program called SMART, Single Mothers Accessing Resources for Transformation. Sorry about that. But it doesn't necessarily just apply to mothers. It's for single dads, single parent households. It really, that's a growing population, and they're always challenged. There's nothing a mama bear won't do for her cubs, right?
Yeah,
so do you imagine having those 4 kids of yours, Tommy, and not being able to provide for them, even the basic needs that they need. I mean, maybe you can't get them a PlayStation or an Xbox, but what if you couldn't get them a winter coat or shoes or, I mean, that would just kill you. I mean, what it does to a woman emotionally inside, I'm blessed that I haven't had to face those tough decisions, but I can't imagine what that's like. And I have a lot of compassion for the moms that are out there doing it all, and we really want to support them. And the dads that are doing it on their own, it's a growing population, and they're struggling, especially here on Long Island where cost of living is so high.
Yeah, and I think that's a big misconception, like that people think Long Island is the Hamptons, and even the Hamptons isn't what people think the Hamptons are. Like, I know an organization called Hamptons Community Outreach, and I was just like I used to, be a wise guy about going like, people actually think the Hamptons is just like what you would see on TV or something like that. No, there are people who are struggling in the Hamptons. That's why there's organizations. Shout out to Hamptons. Hamptons Community Resource Organization, because they're doing that work. I want to ask you a question, because I was out with my friend Heather Edwards yesterday. How often do you come across the need for diapers? And do you have a good connection there? Have you worked with the Allied Foundation or some other places?
We haven't, but don't think my wheels weren't turning when you.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do. That's why Tommy.
I guess that's where you get the name from, huh?
I you know what? When you make up a name called the Nonprofit Sector Connector, you better figure out what it's all about, and you better do it. But that's what we're going to meet next week.
Part of community partnership between the nonprofits is really important on Long Island, and I think that for the most part, they're all open to it. We have community partners that we work with, and I will definitely be looking into those diapers.
We'll talk about that. I mean, 4 million. Tom, it seemed like you wanted to jump in on that one too.
No, we years back we had a large diaper collection at the parishes, and we gave them to the Allied Fund.
Oh, is that right?
That was going back many, many years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. What the circle of life, as they say. I want to understand, believe it or not, we're going to go to another break in a couple, but before we do that, I want to understand, we mentioned these conferences, if I'm using the right word, as it relates to the parishes. And I think when I look at the notes, it's 63 different conferences or parishes. Those of us, of the Catholic faith, know parishes, the local church and that local community. But how does that engagement work? I know you said somebody might come to the church or come to the parish, maybe they come to the rectory and they're looking for support or whatever. What happens there? What's that look like?
Well, as I said, each parish has a different setup, who's in charge of of doing the intakes and what have you. But it's up to the pastor if we're there or not. It's the pastor's choice. If we have to be invited in.
Got it.
But we are, that's one of the only sort of restrictions we have, is that we are geographically bound by. So a conference is just the group of volunteers. We call our volunteers Vincentians. If you're a volunteer for our organization, you go through extensive training, and you become what's known as a Vincentian. The Vincentians form together and make a conference within a parish.
Okay.
Only limit that I've come across, and I said I'm only here a year so far, is that we're bound by the geography of the parish. So we're unfortunately unable to help people that are outside of the parish that has a conference. Not every parish on Long Island has a conference. We would love them to. If there's any pastors listening and you'd like to start a conference, please reach out to us.
I always love this word, Monsignor. So shout out to all the Monsignors out there. I always like saying that word, Monsignor. as
a Chaminade boy,
I think that's what it was, man. I don't know, but I remember being so I was a bartender for a long time, and we would sometimes, how you doing, Monsignor? Like, why we were calling each other Monsignor, I have no idea, but it's just one of those words that I like saying. So.
Good word. So all the Monsignors give us a call. So but that's really important, Tommy, that the people that we're sending out there, the 1,100 volunteers that we have, or 1,200, are all extensively trained volunteers. That keeps our administrative costs low. That means when you give to St. Vincent de Paul, the people that are out there with boots on the ground are doing it out of the kindness of their heart and not to fill their pockets. So that allows us to think about how much more money, if we're not paying salaries, we can give back to the community. I mean, I'm telling you, we're the best kept secret on Long Island.
Well,
and I just want to shout it out that, it's amazing.
Not for long. You hang out with the nonprofit sector connector, man.
There you
Secret's
go.
out. The secret is out. You mentioned that so quick. I do want to shout out all those volunteers and say, listen, if you are looking to volunteer, this is an incredible organization that you should volunteer for, and you're going to get trained up. You're going to get upskilled because you're going to be serving the public, and you're going to have to learn something, and then you become a Vincentian, that's just like cool right there. Like that's a fun thing. I want to ask your staff though, and then Tom, I know you want to jump in on something, but staff wise, how many staffers do you have across the whole footprint of the organization?
In the United States,
No, I mean locally, just Long Island.
Here we have 72 employees.
72 employees. So shout out to those people who have made a commitment to the community, who, this is their employment, this is their job, this is their career. But shout out to those people. Being that I own an agency called Vanguard Benefits, which is an employee benefits agency, I got to shout us out just to say we just rolled out the 2024 class of inductees into the Vanguard Benefits Employer Hall of Fame. And if you want more information, everybody listening, we are taking applications and having conversations for the 2025 Vanguard Benefits Employer Hall of Fame. So go to vanguardbenefitsyou.com if you want to check out more. I never promote and never do commercials for us, but I'm starting to do it because what we're doing is driving a culture of caring inside of the organizations we hang around and work with. So you don't have to be a Vanguard Benefits client to work with us on the Hall of Fame. We could always talk about that offline. So send me an email, tdemisa@vgdny.com also if you want more information. All right, commercial aside, I think it's critically important to just acknowledge the employees that work with us who are on the front lines because they engage with the people we serve. Tom, what do you think from a CEO, from the C level? What is that like for you?
We're very proud of our employees. A lot of places don't do right by their staff. We offer pension funds. We put up money aside for them. And I've watched over the 20-something years I've been here, some of our employees had young kids. These kids now graduated college.
Yeah.
They're still working for us.
Yeah.
We gave them a steady job. A big chunk, more than half of our employees have been with us over 20 years.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Why do they stay?
Why do they stay so long?
Because we take care of them. It's not a hostile work environment. We don't start yelling at them, all the time. On occasion, something will happen, but day in and day out, we do right by our employees.
Do you have any open job recs right now? Is there anything you're hiring for currently?
And we're always looking for truck drivers. That's like the past since COVID. That's been the toughest job to fill anyway.
Is that right? All right. Well, so what would that be? CDL?
No, non-CDL.
Non-CDL.
Yeah, we just want the trucking experience though.
Okay. Gang, you heard it here first. Go to svdpli.org. If you are a truck driver, have that experience, and you're going to work for a great organization who cares about you and is only going to yell at you sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to say that, I'm the newest employee here. It's a wonderful work environment because everybody is committed to the mission.
Yeah.
In addition to having a comfortable and pleasant work environment, everybody here, you could just, the conversations, the way everybody interacts, the staff support when we have an event is incredible because everybody's really, committed to the mission and believes in it. Because what's not to commit to? We want to help each other.
100%.
Let's help people. There's nothing to not like.
You mentioned events. So like if I had notes, I would think you were reading my notes, but I don't, so I don't know where. But we're going to talk about events when we come back. We'll take a quick break. We'll talk about events. I know you have a walk coming up. In fact, I just got asked to MC a walk for the Mental Health Association in Nassau County, which I believe I do know it's October 4th at Jones Beach. And it is all about mental health. And, that's kind of like when you talk about mental health to Tommy D, you kind of win me over pretty quick. But we're going to talk about events that your organization has, what's upcoming, how we can help. We'll take a quick break. I told you it goes fast, man. We run out of time. We do not run out of words. We run out of time in this show, not words. We will be right back to close it for everybody.
On Frank About Health, we're not just talking healthcare. We're managing disruption and innovation. Over the last 4 years, I've taken you from epilepsy and COVID to mental health, caregiving, and now the front lines of healthcare transformation. Stay tuned for a healthier future as we bring on the innovators, professionals, storytellers, and advocates who show you how to own your healthcare every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Ready to serve up success with a splash? Hi, I'm Bruce Kramer, aka the Corporate Cockroach.
I'm the Renaissance woman, Angie Snowball.
And I'm your strategy doctor, Dr. Meltech Desange, inviting you to serving up success with a splash.
Join us as we shake things up with real talk and real strategies centered around awareness, action, and accountability.
And yes, there really is a cocktail involved. Please join us and sip your way to success.
Serving up success with a splash, where wisdom meets happy hours. Cheers!
Cheers.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
We are back. All right. So September 27th, 2025. Actually, that is the morning after. The morning after. That is the morning after. I mean, I hope I'm still with us here on this plane, because it is Death of a Gangster, and I might be the victim at the murder mystery event at Captain Bill's, where I'm the honoree. Shout out to Options for Community Living, September 26th, out in Bayshore, Captain Bill's. But the next morning, if I still am here, I would like to be at Heckscher State Park. So that's the most impending event that's coming up for you all. Trish, tell me about that. What do you need from a development perspective, sponsors, volunteers, etc.?
So it's called the Friends of the Poor Walk, and it's an international event. It's recognized by all the St. Vincent de Paul conferences and councils across the world. We are the largest walk in America. Is that correct, Tom? I believe that.
For the St. Vincent de Paul walk in the, yes.
Yeah, we're the largest in the US. We will be walking at Heckscher State Park in East Islip on September 27th. It's a great walk. I really love the space, because you start out in the woods and it's all nice and woody, and then you go out and you're along the Great South Bay. It's an absolutely gorgeous trail to walk. So we hope we could get a lot of people to come and join us. You can register by going to our website at svdpli.org. You can call us here at the office, 516-822-3132. And or you can scan the QR code on our flyer, which is also on our social media. We're on social media on Facebook and Instagram. All the information's there. We raised about between 300,000 and 400,000 last year. Tom, do you?
At this walk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and the conferences, fundraise on their own level. So the money they raise stays within their community. But
So all these conferences come together at this event. So you got a lot of almost like teams where they're like focused on. Got it. So cool. Yeah.
But we really want to invite, the corporate world, the business world. I know there's a lot of push towards corporate social responsibility. This is a great way. We have ways to build teams. We have ways to come and have, you can promote your business at our event. So there's stuff for business, there's stuff, and we also need volunteers. So the walk is really big. It's on the 27th. It's a Saturday morning. It's going to be gorgeous weather, I'm told.
It is going to be gorgeous. It is going to be gorgeous. I got the same deal you got. Hey, look, an organization, again, it's a lay organization, right? It's Catholic lay folks, but again, we do got to get a connection here, right? So you can send a couple novenas up and make sure the sun is shining down more. And again, I mean, I'm thinking I just might sleep somewhere down on the South Shore, because to come all the way back up north and then come back down south, I might have to figure this out for me, because I'll be down that way. Shout out again to the great work you all are doing and that walk, and I want to be there. I just have to figure out the timing.
It's so awesome. It's great. It's just, we had probably close to 1,000 people last year. Everybody gets their t-shirts. We provide there's music, it's just a really fun day.
It's funny you say.
Trish said, with that money stays right in your community. We're not taking anything off the top.
That's great.
That goes right to the people in need.
I love that. So speaking of t-shirts, by the way, shout out to my t-shirt, Philanthropy and Focus. But talk about t-shirts. Tom and Trish, you were telling me earlier that if somebody gets on a regular subscription and commits to donating $20, now you can donate much more than 20 if you want, gang, but $20 a month, you get a free Neighbors Helping Neighbors t-shirt. And I'm going to I'll share what Trish sent me, but tell me about this program, Trish.
So we've had monthly giving, but we're trying to relaunch and rebrand the program to bring more people in. By donating $20 a month, by committing to that, we send you this amazing T-shirt. It kind of highlights what we do, you know, with food, utilities, clothing, everything we provide for people. But, you know, monthly giving is the best way to support a nonprofit because it creates sustainability. It allows us to react quickly in emergencies. It allows, you know, we're able to continue the work without ever having to worry about the deficit. It's really, you know, so we just jumped on the T-shirt bandwagon and we said, come on, people, give us you know, get onto our monthly giving program and we will be happy to send you this beautiful T-shirt. And we hope to see lots of them walking all over Long Island.
I want one, and I got to get sorted out. I'll go downstairs and grab my wallet and sign up for this. It says $10 a month helps a family put food on the table. $25 a month may help cover a utility bill. $50 a month can help prevent homelessness. Wow. A sudden job. This is the stuff that people are getting. Sudden job loss, eviction and utility shutoffs, food insecurity, emergency needs. Gang, this is life. This is what goes on. Things happen and people need support. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what we're supposed to be doing while we're on this planet, is looking out for each other. Tom, final word, final thoughts from you about the organization, how we can help you.
Well, again, it's all in the community. We can always use more, as Trish said earlier, Vincentian volunteers. If you can, go down, visit your parish, see if we're there. We'd love to have you come in.
How old can the volunteers be? Can the kids get involved?
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. The one thing I always want to do is, to sidetrack for a second, is we have almost 1,200 Vincentian volunteers out there. And I always want to tell everybody, I want to thank them. You could have 200 people working in the office.
Yeah.
They do the work.
Yeah.
They're out there at night. They're out there in the morning. And it's really a special person that does this kind of work. So they deserve all the
applause for the Vincentians.
100%. Always about volunteers. Always about volunteers. Trish, from your perspective, from a development perspective, what more do people need to know about this organization?
Okay, so you need to know that we're not just bins. You need to know that we are affiliated with the church, but our money stays within our organization, because that is a question I get. We offer help for everyone, regardless of creed or any other demographic that you might think of. We would love you to come and join our walk. It's a great day. It's a ton of fun. We have a ton of events. We're actually being honored. If I could give us a shout out to ourselves, we're being honored in the HIALI Small Business Achievement Awards next week.
Where and when?
It is at the Crest Hollow do I have it in front of me, Tommy? You don't know? You're not going to be there?
What, HIA?
I was just going to say to you, like, if you, I'm a great +1, Trish.
It's at the Crest Hollow. It's at the Crest Hollow on the 19th at 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. It's a luncheon honoring a bunch of businesses on Long Island. So we're excited to be there and be in front of our fellow Long Islanders. And we have a concert coming up in November that's going to be amazing. It's local musicians doing. We've had one last year at John Ingman Theater. That'll be coming up in November. Just follow us on social media. We have a lot going on. I love that. We were quiet till I got here, Tommy.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's good. Listen, don't want to be the best kept secret. I tell all my nonprofit friends who tell me that. I know they don't want to be. So here's the event, and then we got to go to break. Well, got to go to break. We got to go. And then the show, September 19th, 2025, Crest Hollow Country Club. If you live here, if you're in the nonprofit space, you basically, I told them last time I was there, I was like, you guys should probably just get me an office here. Nonprofits. Oh, look who it is. ECLI Vibes, Family and Children's Association, Girl Scouts Suffolk County, Girls Inc. All of my friends here. Marty Lyons, Hope for Youth, People's Ark. Shout out to John McGuigan, St. Vincent de Paul, right? Talking to him now. Suffolk Y JCC, the United Veterans Beacon Home. Shout out to Frank and team out there. All right. So look, I have to be at that event. So now I will be. September 19th. All right. Congratulations on that honor. I want to be there applauding for you. I appreciate you both being here. Thank you for being my friends, and thanks for coming on the show. And listen, next step is I'm coming out for a tour. I want to see the offices. I want to see some of the stores. I want to get myself some new gear. And
we'll get you a suit for your event.
Since apparently my clothes look like I bought them at a thrift shop anyway, I can start shopping at a thrift shop. I appreciate you both. We got to go. The show's over. Make it a great day, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the